Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. The Mishnah Yomi is continuing for the 5th day of Av in the 11th and final parak of Terumot at Mishnah Hay. Yesterday we discussed juicing fruits and the stems of fruits. Today we get into the pits, Garine Terumah, the cores or pits of Terumah fruit, Bizman Shu Mechanson, when he's saving them, asurot. When the Kohen is saving them, because they have some degree of edibility, they're soft and chewy. They would be a good replacement chewing gum back then when they had no chewing gum, or they're moist and you could suck out the juice. So the Kohen is saving them to eat them. Asurot. They are not allowed to non-Kohanim. On a linguistic note, in modern Ivrit, garine means nuclear, as in the nucleus of the atom, as in Petzatzot Gar'init Lo Aleinu. So it connotes the core or the nucleus, and here it's the pit, the core of the fruit. Mishnah continues, Im hishlechan mutarot. If the Kohen is not saving them, they're mamish inedible, and he's just throwing them in the garbage, they are mutter for non-kohanim. V'chen atzmot hakodshim. So too the bones of sacrificial offerings. Bizman shemachansan, when the people eating the offerings, whether that's the owner of the offering or the kohanim who are given certain parts, when they're going to eat these parts, asurin, they're asur to other people. What parts are these? The Bartanura points out the ends of the bones that you can sort of gnaw off the cartilage on the ends. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm a rabbi, but I've heard that it's good for joints if you eat this stuff on the ends of the bones. That's where the joints are. And also, the bone marrow also is edible. And so if he's saving the bones for the marrow or the ends, then it's edible and it's usher to other people. Mishlichan mutarin. If he's throwing these bones in the garbage, throwing them out, they're not edible. It's mutter. So what's the other guy going to do with it? That it's mutter. Well, maybe he'll boil it up, make a bone broth. And there's an interesting discussion in kashrus about the status of bones, them dry bones, because if they're considered to be completely tasteless, then perhaps they combine to be mevatel iser. For instance, if you had 55 kizayit of mutter food, plus 5 more kizayit of tasteless, inedible bones, and they're all being cooked together in one stew, and then 1 kizayit of iser falls in, so maybe those bones, if they don't have their own taste, might combine to be mevatel that iser that falls in. Mishnah continues, hamorsan mutter. Now the morsan is like bran, but it's really the outer husk. It's the outer klipa of the wheat or the barley, the grain kernel, and it's really considered inedible. So it's mutter. Even the morsan of truma is mutter to non-kohanim. Subin. Now the subin is the bran, is sort of the outer, not the outer layer, but sort of the inner membrane around the wheat kernel. And so it depends. So subin shel chadashot asurot. So the newer brands are asur because they have some moisture in them. So really sort of when you grind everything up, the kemach, the flour of truma, is sticking to the bran. The shel yeshanot mutarot, but the old dried out bran is mutter because it's dried out already when they go to grind it and separate the bran from the wheat, from the seed itself inside the bran. So because everything's more dry, the flour doesn't stick to the bran. So you could pull out the bran and make whole bran bread out of this truma bran. And since there's no wheat, just the bran, it would be, it's from the wheat, sorry. There's no flour of the wheat. It's only the bran of it. It would be mutter to non-kohanim. V'noheg b'truma, kederech shu noheg b'chulin. So the Kohen who's processing his truma grains, he's allowed to treat truma the same as the chulin. So he grinds everything up to separate the bran from what's called the endosperm, the inside of the seed, which is what becomes the flour. He's allowed to just throw the bran out. He just sifts it out in the sifter, and he throws it in the garbage, or he feeds it to his camel or something like this, because the bran, they were not into whole bran bread back then, Rabbi Sai, so they did not consider it a part of the bread. Hamisalet kav o kabayim leseya. So Kohen is sifting flour. Solet is fine flour. Hamisalet is the verb form. He's making a fine flour out of a kav or kabayim 2 kav, meaning he's left with 1 or 2 kav leseya per aseya. So he started with aseya, which is the same as 6 kav, and he's sifting this very fine until he has 1 or 2 kav left. So he wants to get the very fine flour. Lo ya'abed et ashar. Don't destroy the leftover, the more coarse pieces of flour. Ele yanichenu b'makom hamutzna. Put it in a protected place. So you don't want a non-Kohen to eat it. You don't want it to become tameh or rot. But he's not going to eat it. Right now, Lamaisa, he wants to have a very fine bread right now from fine flour, a cake or something like this. Mishnah Vav, Megura. Megura is a storeroom, like his wheat storeroom. Shapina mimeno chite truma, that he's cleaning out the wheat kernels that are truma. Ein mechayvin oto liot yoshev umelaket achat echad. So we don't make him sit on every inch of this floor and pick out every single tiny kernel and the ones that are trying to fall through the cracks and the ones in the corners that you can't reach. So you clean it out normally. You sweep it out. You try to get everything out. But, if there's stuff in the cracks, there's stuff in the cracks. And then you can switch it over to use for chulin. Even though Lamaisa, there's 1 or 2 grains of truma left, he can, sweep it out normally, take out the truma as much as he can, but we don't make him go crazy about it. And then the rest is chulin. Meaning he puts in his new chulin. If there's 1 or 2 that are truma, they're going to be batal anyway. So you see from here that truma, in one sense, is more makel than Pesach cleaning. Shkoyach Rabotai, have a great day.